Hi, everybody. My name is Kenny K. Royal.
And I'm Lizzo. And I'm what? 100% that
I was about to
bitch.
say, I'm good as hell when you said
I'm that too. I'm that also. But we can go straight into our topics because actually my first topic is about Lizzo. So she, her big song at the moment is Truth Hurts. Mm-hmm. And it's like everywhere.
Whenever I hear Truth Hurts, I know her song, but whenever I hear Truth Hurts, I just hear Usher's song in my head. Truth hurts. I got a reason to believe in that you've been fooling around.
That's such a good album.
It really was. But every time I hear Truth Hurts, that's what comes to my head first. Not Lizzo, because I haven't listened to Truth Hurts and probably since it came out.
Yeah.
I've listened to Lizzo's way more, but for some fucking reason, Usher's keeps coming up.
For me, when I think of the song, Truth Hurts isn't what I think about. Although she says it in the song, it's not really a leading
lyric.
Yeah, it's not anything that I just listen to. You know what? That's what that song should be called. But apparently she's been having, apparently the song lyric that I just said, I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Mm-hmm. Was inspired by a tweet that was tweeted out by some London British performer named Mina Lioness. And she, was kind of like wanting to get credit for that lyric. Mm-hmm. And so Lizzo just recently added her as a creditor on the song.
That's nice.
I think it was earlier she was saying like, oh, well, I heard about that meme or tweet or whatever, but we just doesn't mean that we couldn't both have the same idea at the same time. And then I guess at some point she was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and give her
I feel like
credit.
She probably felt like it was best to just go ahead and give her the credit, especially since she knows that she didn't have the idea. It wasn't like an original idea herself. Like she wasn't just in the studio and said it or wrote it down. This was something that she saw in a meme. And then
but I do wonder, like, at what point...
it derived from that woman's tweet. But at the same time, this is the kind of thing that's scary to me because you can't really... it's not easy a lot of the times with memes to trace back the original source of it. Like you can tweet something really funny, and then let's say you get 200,000 retweets.
Yeah,
those 200,000 people that retweeted this not gonna have also maybe hundreds or thousands of people retweeting them. So after all this time of this shit just getting spread out, and then we gonna go say something to a friend, that friend gonna say something to that friend. Mm-hmm. This gets passed around so much, and then by the time these people also start going to make memes about it. It's how can you go back and find without everybody sourcing that original without everybody sourcing you, how can you just feel like Lizzo knew that you Chemo said this thing and is doing you dirty because she doesn't want to give you credit. I feel like Lizzo probably felt like the best way to get this whole thing to just shut up and be done is let me go get this bitch some credit so she shut the fuck up.
But at the same time I'm thinking, okay, so what constituted credit? Because, say, for instance, when Beyonce came out with Flawless, a lot of people put in their songs, I woke up like this. Mm-hmm. So, do we credit Beyonce or whoever wrote that song? Or, like, if somebody's, like, mentioning a slogan, like, people put lyrics and slogans and whatever. I think it's a double-edged sword because I'm like...
Or it's unfair for celebrities at the very least. Yeah. Because people want to say that celebrities are always stealing and taking ideas from people that are normal like us, but then when somebody normal like us takes a lyric and uses shit like that in their songs from a celebrity, it's supposed to be just okay. A lot of people just feel like celebrities are supposed to be treated however the fuck they want to be treated, and you can't really say shit about it. But it's very irritating to me. The reason that this is kind of worrisome to me is because some of the bars that I write in my raps, sometimes like I'll get a bar because I saw a meme or something. Yeah. And of course, like I said, memes they are generally, most likely not going to source who actually said them. Sometimes you just see something funny, you hear something funny, you just put that in a song. So now my thing is, now I put out a song and somebody hears it and they just, oh, this is my song now. You got to give me credit because you put this one fucking line in here. And I'm just like, that whole situation is just kind of annoying. It makes you not want to do shit, to be quite honest.
To be honest, it's just, like I said, I just want to know what constitutes giving somebody a credit. Because there's a lot of songs that reference other things, especially rap. Mm-hmm. Rap is always referencing other things. So I'm like, at what point do we give credit? That's what I need somebody to define that for me and let me know.
I don't think it was even something legal on that that Lizzo had to do legally. I feel like Lizzo
Well,
could
she
honestly
didn't.
just
She
said,
decided to, because the girl, like even the girl said herself that she didn't have a dog in the fight. She would have like, I don't even think that she just so much was asking Lizzo to give her credit. I think she just wanted her to acknowledge
That
where
was
she
for
got
her.
it from, and and so Lizzo decided to share the credit with her. But there's also Justin and Jermaine Raisin, who are saying that they deserve credit on the song. And Lizzo was like, well, I'm giving credit to this lady, but these two dudes ain't getting no credit on my song. She said, there was only me, my producers, and my tears in the room when I wrote this song.
My tears.
And she was like, I will not give them credit. And it's just crazy because the thing is, this song is not new. I think it's been out for like 2 years, right?
Yeah, this is because I don't think she's even been promoting any music from her last album or EP.
Yeah, not since like Juice or
Yeah.
Tempo, but this song got big because it was in a Netflix movie. I'm trying to look and see what Netflix movie it was because I had just read it, but it was a Netflix movie, and people heard it in that movie, and it just blew up.
Yeah,
and it's just so crazy how something like that can, just get you out there. This song has been out there all this time, then all of a sudden, like, whoop.
I think it's smart for her to also go back and promote songs from her earlier works that she just felt really passionate about them, or she just felt like those should have gotten more attention than they did. And now that she's getting as much attention as she is right now, I think it is smart to go back and grab some of those songs. Like, let's go ahead and put this back on the radio now, or get this on the radio in general, so you can broaden your audience. I mean, I do want her to perform more stuff from the last EP because I just like it so much. But girl, do your thing, girl. Get on it.
Yeah, the movie was called Someone Great, just to throw that out there. I have not seen it. Yeah, Someone Great.
Someone great. Oh, I thought it said so ungreat. I was like, this sentence.
Someone Great. I haven't seen it. I think I've seen a thumbnail or whatever, but it didn't like anything I wanted to watch. But it's like, for instance, like with Queen Herbie, I told you, it was like she got shot up in like streams on Spotify because they had put her song in that Shane Dawson video. And I was like, that's the type of exposure you need. I need somebody to put her song in a Netflix movie.
I really think they do need to, because it's kind of weird to me it's not weird to me, because we discussed it before, that I don't think Queen Herbie will get any of the attention that she's so rightly deserves because of the fact that she's so heavily hip-hop influenced. And even when she tried to go do her thing with her fiance or her husband, I don't know if they're married now, but I think they are married. But anyway, when she went to go do her thing with Nick and they were Carmen, she got more attention. She had stuff. I saw her music in commercials. She had actual videos being put out.
She was
on
making
things.
pop music though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That they were more likely to do. They were more favorable of her when she was doing that. But the thing is, anybody that followed them on YouTube from the very fucking beginning, all of her, not all of, but most of her, what do they call, like covers? Most of her covers were rap songs, and she would find a way to make them a little bit more poppy, I guess, for the like American consumption or something like that. So or the popular consumption. So she would make them a little bit more poppy, and then she stopped doing that, and then they came Carmen, and she got annoyed with the direction that the studio wanted to put her in, because she said that they kept wanting her to go more and more pop, and she's like, every time they would try to introduce like kind of a hip-hop song, they wouldn't really want her to do it. So that's when she and Nick gave up on the label and tried to just do their own independent thing.
And I think it's shitty because they were trying to change who they were, because I know they've said that what they listen to is hip hop and R&B. And I think the biggest issue here is because she's white. And somehow only certain white people can get away with doing hip hop. Mainly Eminem, but I don't understand it.
It's annoying because the thing is, Queen Herbie has more talent than, I want to say, most of the female rappers that are getting attention. I mean, they're not getting as much attention because the female rap game already is very much so pushed down and beaten, because they always want to have just one person at the top. And then if another person does come up and get popular, now the two of them have to battle. Meanwhile, we got like a million male rappers saying the same bullshit all the fucking time, sounding horrible.
They all sound exactly the same.
And it's like, but the female rappers can't do much. And I'm just like, it's kind of sad because Nicki Minaj so Lil' Kim was really big. Then Nicki Minaj came out, and there was a whole feud between them. And I honestly believe that a lot of it was sparked up between people in the industry, making them think that they need to hate each other, and then they
Probably so.
got into it as well.
And also the fans, I feel.
Definitely so the fans. And then after Nicki Minaj got really, really big, well, she's been in the game for over 10 years, and now Cardi B got a little popularity, and then they started pitting them two against each other. And now Cardi B's rising up, and I'm like, I hope she knows. And this is not like a diss to Cardi B, because as much as I don't really care for her music like that, she does have a lot of songs that I like, that I listen to. To me, her talent is just a one single flow kind of rapper.
It is.
She doesn't really change her flow up. Now that could be good or bad to you, whatever. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
But
I just hope that bad thing, but I think it is just a determining factor to her music.
Yeah, you can't. There's not a single Cardi song I've ever heard that she didn't have that same flow. I mean, that's Cardi though. Yeah. And Cardi B, I just feel like hopefully because she's going out and trying to do her acting thing now too.
I don't know how long she's gonna last. I've
never seen her act to know that she can or not. So,
I feel like, and it's just me, I don't think she's gonna have a lot of longevity, and she might, but I just don't see it. Who's also starting to rise up is Doja Cat. Yeah. She's starting to get pretty big. I was trying to, because my brother was hooping and hollering about her, and so of course I like the song Juicy, and then I'm getting into this the new song I Like It Rules that everybody's been posting everywhere.
Yeah, people have been posting that everywhere, and I've been liking that a little bit too.
I've been listening to it today, so it's definitely something that's starting to get in my rotation. But I did try to go back and listen to some of her other songs.
See, that's something I'm always afraid about.
No.
Like,
she's got a song called Cow. And she was
cow, like COW?
Yes, and it's like, I'm a cow, I go moo. And then I would have to play this for you later. it was tragic. But there were other songs, most of them about eating pussy and all that, which is fine. That's what most of them talk about. But the other ones just didn't get with me. But I absolutely love Juicy, and I absolutely love Rules. And I don't know if just like this old stuff, and she hadn't really come into her own yet. Yeah. Which I could understand. Sometimes it takes a minute to find your sound, but Rules, I think, is really good. She has a really good flow in it, especially that second verse, and I think that's why that's the verse that everybody's gravitating towards.
Yes.
And also it sounds like she can actually sing too.
That's what I always like. I'm sorry, the internet went out on Chemo's TV, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's out.
Oh my goodness. It's been acting a fool all day. Anyway, luckily I'm away from all internet media.
Yeah, we don't need it right now.
But so what I was gonna say before we change topics, Queen Herbie the other day, I want to say like last week sometime, she was on live before she was going to do a photo shoot or a video shoot, one of the two. And so she was sitting there and she was just like kind of vibing or whatever, getting ready, just putting on some lotion and lipstick and all this other stuff. And she was like literally had to be out in like maybe 20 minutes, she said. But she was just like, I'm just gonna hop up here real quick, do a little check-in. And somebody had commented, Nicki Minaj or Cardi B, and she got I won't say she got really irritated, but I guess the question annoyed her, and she was like, I don't really like this game of this female rapper versus this female rapper. And she was like, because you guys always act the same too. She was like, there's too many female rappers out here for y'all to be wanting to pin these two together. And so she went down and made a list on her Mac at that time, just sat there on her Mac, just typing in names of different female rappers. And she knew a lot of them, so she knows her fucking shit. But she put down a lot of them, and she was asking people in her chat to also tell her names. And so they were putting out names. I think by the end of that, they had 100 fucking names. Like in maybe 5-minute time span of just female rappers.
Realize there were that many.
And so I saved the video, and I'm gonna go back and try to check some of them out, because a lot of them I did know. A lot of them you'll know, but the names isn't really big.
Yeah.
And then of course you had your little Kim, Missy's, Cardi's, whatever. But she at the end of it, she was like, see, now we have 100 names on this list, so don't nobody come up in here and ask me again, Nicki or Cardi B.
I love that she did that. I do love that she did that.
She was like, we got too many people, but then she got to a point because she was like, people started saying shit like Brandy, Beyonce. She was like, now y'all just saying people that got flavor and not real rappers.
I mean, Brandy did have a little stint of rapping.
She said what's going to qualify as a rapper so she could stop getting Beyonce's name and all these other women. She was like, if your discography is more singing and that's what I had tweeted you, was it rhythmic poetry.
Yeah.
She was like, if your if your discography is more singing than rhythmic poetry, which is rap, then you're not a rapper. So just shut all of that down.
I mean, true. I mean, like I said, Brandy had a little stint, but it was only like 2 or 3 songs. Like, and like Beyonce, of course, she had that album with Jay-Z where she rapped, but that's the only time she's ever really, really rapped. But even then, I don't know if I'd really just call it rapping.
Yeah.
It was more like rap singing. So I would never call Beyonce a rapper. I know that people are starting to include that in her names,
people
but
just
I
want
wouldn't
to
call
do
that.
too much, which is annoying. But I just really love that she did that with the female rappers. She was like, let's get more names out here. Since it wasn't even a thing of if she liked them or not. She was like, if she didn't like the person, she wasn't going to type it down. Any name you came up with that was a female rapper, she would type it down. And she was very honest with, oh, I know, I remember her. How can we forget her? And then when she did know somebody, she was like, I got to look them up later. I really liked it. But this next story that I have, which we both had, so you should know everything I'm about to say about it, is with Tank and how he feels that a man can suck a dick twice and not be gay. Now, there's also a video that went at the end of this. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Because he posted a response, right?
Yeah, he posted a response.
I did watch that.
I recorded I saved the page so I could play the response here once we're done talking about this. Because I understood where he was coming from when he was saying that you could suck a dick twice and not be gay, because it's something where it's only for men, it seems, that you can't experiment and find out what you truly like without being immediately labeled gay. Women can have their experimental phase in college where they're talking about, oh, I experimented with girls in college, but it wasn't for me, and moved on. And nobody thinks a fucking thing about it.
But the thing is, they can also have enjoyed it and just not do it again. And that's still not classified as lesbians.
But a man can't have somebody, like, maybe a man is questioning, like, if he likes a man, if he will be able to be with another dude or not. And let's say he's in college, he has a gay roommate or a gay friend or something. They come in, and he's like, all right, go ahead and suck this dick real quick, or they fuck, whatever the situation is.
Or they just really drunk and they playing around, or they were in a frat, which you know how they get in frats.
Yeah, which I'm just like, first of all, the gayest thing for y'all to be so bro-like.
Yeah.
Y'all, the 2 men go ahead and do something, and then you realize, oh, well, that wasn't for me.
That was not for me.
It was fun. It was a cute little kiki, but that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if somebody does that, because I'm sure many straight men have, if they do that, now most of them have to be at that point where they can never tell anybody.
They can't tell anybody.
Because the moment you tell somebody, now everybody's like, oh, well, you're gay. You touched a man's dick, you're gay. It's like, not only do straight men, well, I don't blame completely that straight men make masculinity so fragile. Women do it a lot too.
They do.
Because men wouldn't be so fearful. Like, I don't think men really care about another man calling them gay too much. I mean, they do care, but I think as opposed to a woman calling them gay is where it becomes an issue. Because if a bunch of women think you're gay and you're straight, that's a problem. Yeah. If some men calling you gay and you don't give a fuck about these men.
It's definitely an issue, especially more so in the black community.
Definitely. The homophobia in the black community is rampant.
It's real. So I agree with what he said. I could definitely say, just for instance, just to compare it to the gay experience, most gay people will try straight sex. It'd be like, you know what? I tried it for the team. It wasn't for me. I need to stop. So I don't see anything wrong with a straight man who just wants to see, okay, would I like this? And like, okay, he tries and he said, no. And so that's fine too. The thing is, though, the biggest issue with how this information is circulating around the internet is that when you're looking at people posting these posts, and then what you see as the headline is that Tank says that sucking dick doesn't make you gay. Now, that's not what he said.
It's not, and that's what a lot of people do. He's not saying
if you suck 3 dicks a day, you ain't gay. He said if you try it, and you like, okay, that's not for me. And the same issue, like, this is a good old Insecure plug. I love Issa Rae. In the first season, a couple episodes in, there's a character called Molly. She is Issa's best friend in the show. And she starts dating this really cute guy who's really respectful, really likes her. He's fucking her good and all types of stuff.
Tearing that pussy up.
Yeah. I mean, that sex scene, Lord Jesus. But there's some good sex scenes in that show, just to let you know. But
are they showing peen?
Did they show peen? I don't think they've shown peen. They might, because she seemed like she might want it. Because she said one thing she said about the show is that because you know how a lot of these shows they very fetishize women in their bodies. She said in our show we fetishizing men.
Yeah.
So
go for it, girl. I'll watch it.
I ain't mad about it. I ain't mad about it at all.
Like you put a dick in something, I'm down to watch it.
But so there's this scene where he invites her over. He cooks for her and everything. They're sitting on the couch. They're having a good kiki. She's somebody, I experimented in college, and so he was like, "What would you do?" She was like, "I messed around with a girl, and I said, oh, Molly was bad up in college, whatever." Mm-hmm. So he was like, "Yeah, I did that too." I mean, not very nonchalant about it. Wasn't making a big deal. She was like, "What?" So he was like, "Yeah," and he didn't even suck the dick. He said that he was drunk. He was with his friend. His friend sucked him up. He was like, "Okay, it was good for the moment," but he was like, "No, that ain't for me." He never did it again.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, so you gay?"
Did you not hear me say that it wasn't for me and I never did it again?
Like, no, I only did it once. It wasn't a big deal. And then she, of course, she go to her friends
and tell them all that her man is gay.
Now, some of them were like, he said it went for him. Then some of them were like, "Nah, bitch, he gay." And then I remember these type of conversations back when I was working at Verizon, and Verizon had a very huge African American population and African American women. And I'll be sitting here in a big group around me of women. And of course, like, we would have times when we would have downtime. And so you like sitting there talking. So the first thing women love to ask me is it gay if my man like for me to put my finger up his booty hole? And I was like, well, if you doing it, no. Now, if a man doing it, you might want to question it.
Right. You're saying, I want your brother to come finger me. That's a different situation. The thing is, what makes you gay is if you are sexually attracted to the same sex. Now, if he's not sexually attracted to a man sticking his finger in his butt, then he's not gay. Yeah. If he wants a woman to do it, that's just his sexual preference. He wants somebody, or that's what gets him off sexually.
He likes that. He likes that stimulation.
I think y'all seem to forget.
Men have prostates, and they are pleasurable for people who like it, for it to be stimulated. It is all a part of the sexual experience. And
the thing is, so many men are stunted by this because most women don't want to, and a lot of women don't want to. And if they do think about it, they're always like, well, if I do this, my man is gay. Because there was this whole video that I saw on Twitter a while ago. It was like this, maybe a couch that they're all sitting on, and they're all like talking, these 4 girls, 3. And one girl is like so aggressive this entire time. Mm-hmm. But the question was posed, there's one girl who's like the comments, I think she's the one that was an advocate of, if my man wants me to peg him, that's what the conversation was. She was like, if my man wants me to peg him, that's not gay because he's asking for a woman to do this, not for my brother or somebody to do this. And the girl was like, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm sorry. I think you gay. You need to go ahead and come out the closet because if you want somebody to touch on your booty hole, you a gay ass motherfucker. And I'm just like,
no. The thing is about a man, and this is the conversation I had with one girl because she was literally seriously asking me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if he's asking you to do it, I'm going to tell you right now, he's not gay. Yeah. A undercover man is not going to ask you to do anything that he think might lead you to believe that he's gay.
Exactly.
So if he's undercover and he fucked around with dudes, and trust me, whatever he want from a dude, he ain't going to try to get from you.
Yeah, because he don't
want it from you. So I'm telling you, if he's coming to you and he's saying, this is what I like, and as I tell these people, this is your man. What you and your man do is between you and your man.
Right. You telling your friends ain't gonna do nothing for you, girl. Yeah, because they gonna start judging it. Yeah. And they gonna put some shit in your head and you're gonna think, oh, this is gay. Then you're gonna fuck your relationship for what? Yeah. So go be single with your friends now.
Right. That's what they want anyway.
Right. Now you sitting up with your single ass friends and the first thing they gonna do is go find them some man and be like, oh, girl, when you gonna find you somebody?
Yeah, they gonna find that man and you know what they gonna say? You know what? He want me to put my finger up his booty hole. And you know what? I did it, and I liked it. And you looking at them like, bitch, you just told me.
No, bitch, but that's your dumb ass for listening. That is so stupid to me. I'm just like, I really wish women would let men be more let men explore more.
My thing is
and I don't say gay men because gay men explore as much as they want to, but I mean like straight men or anybody that's questioning.
To me, a lot of the straight sex is quite boring because they won't do nothing.
They won't do nothing. They want to sit there and just look at each other. Like, essentially,
a lot of the women don't want to suck dick.
If a man moans, don't want to eat pussy. They think that he gay.
They don't want to make any noises, no sound. They barely want to touch each other. They only fucking in missionaries. It's like, okay. My thing is, especially if you're a couple that this y'all are the end game and y'all gonna stay together and y'all have plenty of time to explore and figure out what y'all like, because the point of being with somebody and being like that one entity is that you supposed to be able to completely have the experience of knowing that person's body inside and out. Yeah. And all the things that please them. So, and of course that takes time. But of course, if you're going to be together for the rest of y'all life, y'all got plenty of time.
But the thing is with that, now, if your man wants to do something, let's say it doesn't have to be all of these things, but something to stimulate his asshole or his prostate, whatever it is. Now, if he wants you to finger him, eat his ass, peg him, whatever the situation is. If he wants you to do that and you keep denying him, I guarantee you that man's gonna find somebody else to do it. Now, not even just with the anal pleasure, but anything sexually. Most of the time, if you are not giving your significant other what they sexually are attracted to or want to do because you just either think it's disgusting or you just don't want to do it because of your own hang-ups, they're gonna find somebody else. 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna say every time. I'm not gonna put them exacts out there, those definites. But 9 times out of 10, bitch, that person gonna find somebody else. So now I'm not saying that you have to force yourself to like it, but at least be open to the experience.
And next thing you know, your man gonna be in Motel 6 with a dominatrix stepping on his balls, and you're gonna be like, where? What happened with my relationship?
I feel like a lot of times, some people, men and women, they have a fantasy of something and they want to do it. And that doesn't mean they're going to like it.
They want to do it all the time, and it doesn't mean they're going to like it.
Because they may do it and be like, okay, well, I wanted you to fuck my throat, but I found that was not for me. So, like, I feel like when you're in a committed relationship, at the very least, you should be open and willing to try these new sexual things with your partner, just out of the sake to see if either of you like it, because you may both come out of it. You wanted to try it, and your man didn't, but then he decided to do it for you. You didn't like it. He ended up liking it. So I was like, you never know what can happen. But I feel like being open to those experiences will do a lot, or at least coming to a you
can come to compromises.
Yeah, like, okay, well, I'm not gonna stick my finger up in you, but I got this.
I got this. There are compromises, but let me put out a worldwide PSA for you people out here that are in relationships. Stop telling your friends everything.
Yeah.
Stop, because your friends ain't gonna do nothing but fuck up your relationship. Now, there are some people that have friends that you can talk about everything with. It's not a big deal, but most of these friends don't want you to be happy. So please stop telling folks your business.
Right. Just be safe and don't tell nobody all of anything. Yeah. Especially if it is your relationship.
Sex life. First of all, you should be
y'all.
Yeah, you shouldn't be telling. It's different. It's a hookup. It's somebody you don't care about. But if this your man, you don't talk about your man and nobody else, because you know what you're gonna find out is Rhonda gonna sneak up in your house and be fucking your man.
Rhonda gonna climb through that window.
Right?
Like, hey, Brian.
Like, I heard you got a 10-inch dick. Stop telling your friends this.
But going back to Tank, and I wanted to play his response because I really liked his response to it. Do I have my headphone in? I do. Let me take it out now.
Look, make sure you go watch Lip Service. My interview on Lip Service, Angela Yee and the girls. I said what I said. Y'all so goddamn.
I'm glad that he's.
You gotta watch the whole clip. In any event, it's just homophobia is real. Let me just tell you that it's just as real as racism, classism, all of these things, and just as damaging. And it plagues our community the worst.
Great.
That's This can't be used as a negative. You can't use a human being's existence as a negative. We're going through enough shit. You know what I'm saying? We're going through enough. Like, you don't do that. Like, I get it. You want to call me gay, whatever. I don't have to defend that to you or to anybody. You don't have that power over me. But let's get back to positivity, man. In any event, October 25th, this album is coming out.
I'm not concerned about his music.
Yeah.
So.
I already listen to his music. But I love a secure man. I love how he's like, you can call me gay, whatever. You don't have that power.
He's like, I don't have to defend that to nobody. Especially if I'm not dating you. My thing is, there are so many men that I feel like need to be more like that. When you become secure in yourself, enough in your manlyhood and your straightness, whatever the situation is, you don't allow people to have power over you. Just like I've always said, like I've told people several times, nobody has the power to make me mad about shit. No. Nobody has the power to make me feel embarrassed about anything or to control my emotions. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Nobody has the power to control my emotions worth shit. And I've always said that about different people that come in and out of the life, or when there are arguments being had. I'm just like, I'm not concerned about nobody.
Yeah,
like,
definitely not.
I'm not concerned about nobody. I'm not like, you have to give people the power to take you there. And the thing is, a lot of people are looking for that power. That's why when you see on Twitter and Instagram these people getting into arguments and shit, the moment that, let's say you and I, we don't know each other, but you and I are arguing on Twitter. Mm-hmm. The moment that I start putting in all caps and cursing you out, you like, oh, see, I got you, bitch. Or some of you, like the people have been saying stuff like, oh, I see you getting testy over here, and it's just like they're saying that because they wanted to get you there, because they feel like once they get you mad and riled up, for some reason that means they won. And I guess it does mean they won in a sense, because they were able to take you out of your character. I mean, unless it is your character, just be popping off all the time. But
me, I've never once in my entire time of being on social media have had an argument with someone on social media. I've never done that. People have tried to spark those type of conversations, but you know, just like a phone, because trust me, you call me on my phone when I argue with me, I'm hanging up in your face. I ain't gonna listen to that.
I truly don't.
So, but him talking about homophobia kind of brings me to my next topic.
I don't have a topic, but it's just a comment about a show with the gay thing and homophobia in the South.
Whole other thing. but so there's this new group that it was established called the LGB Alliance. Mm-hmm. So this group this is what it says. It says the aim of this group is to separate people of the trans experience from the wider LGBTQ narrative, believing that trans people are diluting the rights of lesbians, gays, and bisexuals. Essentially, it's complete and utter separatist prejudice, fueled by the growing anti-trans rhetoric in this country. So basically, this is so sad because this is within our own community. So there are gay, lesbian, and bisexual people who are trying to cut trans people out of our community, trying to distance themselves from trans people, saying that they are not good for our community.
I just like that's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
There was a part of it that, not that I understood, but I can hear out a little bit of the I don't know if that's exactly what they said. I can't remember how you read it, but where it's a different struggle, because I feel like to me, a trans person, well, I don't think they need to be removed under our banner for LGBTQ+, but I feel like trans people are trying to transition, and for the most part are going, not for the most part, but most of the people that I've seen transitioning are straight. Like, when I say straight, I mean you're a man wanting to be a woman to date another man. Yeah. Or to date a man. That's straight. To me, at least.
That's
when
straight.
you transition into a woman, you are now a woman that wants to date a man, which is straight.
But that doesn't change the fact that you're trans.
It doesn't change the fact that you're trans. That's what I'm just, to me, it's a different struggle is what I was saying. But to want to remove them because you feel like they're bad and, what do you say, diluting our rights? Is that what it was?
Let me pull it back up.
Because that's just like,
it says diluting the rights of lesbians, gays, and
my thing is, I would love to know I would love to hear an explanation. Like, give me an example of how our rights are being diluted because. If not, I feel like trans people for a lot of the times are
the spearheaders. They're the spearheaders,
like drag queens.
Movement. It is, and when I say, and this is more than likely some fucking, these people with the cis normative agenda. I feel like these are these people who could walk around as if they are not clockable, as you know what I'm meaning. Mm-hmm. That you could see them walking down the street and not know if they're gay,
like
lesbian,
masculine presenting
or bisexual,
or feminine presenting.
Yeah. So, and they want to separate themselves from people who are against the grain and not following the social norms. And I feel that
what irritates me about that is the people that are against the grain and not following social norms are the ones that got you the fucking rights that you are allowed today. You think a bunch of motherfucking like cis het, whatever the fuck they call them. Like, let's say the unclockable ones. Yeah. The people that you would never know are gay. None of those people are out here fighting for rights as hard as everybody else
is they can sit up and they can be unnoticed walking with everybody else.
They have the privilege to not be.
We don't have that privilege. You see my gay ass walking down the motherfucking street, you know that's a gay motherfucker.
Right.
And you know what? I do that proudly. I walk my gay ass down the motherfucking street and say, yes, bitch, I am a gay motherfucker. And you know, that pisses me off so much because the people who spearheaded all of our equal rights movements and, you know, the first ones to speak out are trans people, are feminine people, are drag queens, are the people who can't hide.
Yeah.
So for
the people that those people do it specifically because since we cannot hide, because we will not choose to hide, we need to make sure that our rights and our voices are heard. Like our voices are heard and our rights are secured in place. Because while you people are walking around here with your privilege of being able to hide because you are masculine presenting or just masculine in general, or the lesbian women that are actual feminine, you can go around, nobody knows anything unless you tell them something. Yeah. So you don't really have to fight for rights. You just you get to sit back and have the fucking luxury that all of us, while we're getting lynched, beaten, fucking dragged to these gay camps and shit like that, or we're getting all this persecution to get our rights in check, you get to sit back and just watch it and then reap the benefits of what people like us have gone through. And I feel like it's very disgusting for you to then sit up and say, well, we need to get rid of trans people who are some of the people that have spearheaded, like you said, the movement for equality and everything. You want to remove them from it. I feel like that's very, very fucking disgusting and bigoted. And you should be sad and ashamed to even want to be a part of the community. If you don't want trans people to be in there, how about you remove yourself? How about y'all go ahead, go to a bunch of straight people and let's see how they treat you, bitch.
you go to your good old gay conversion camp and you go and you follow the Christian God and whatever you need to do to make you feel like you're a part of the rest of society. Because I think it's just really fucking sad that we get beaten down so much as a community, and not just as being, you know, and don't be trans and gay and femme and black or person of color or whatever. See, look, it's real easy when you're privileged and you can say, well, I can live a normal life, you know, and the rest of us can't, you know. And
we can't live a normal life without fighting for that normal life.
Yeah, we have to fight for every fucking breath we take.
But at the end of the day, just going back to the people that want to cut out the T from LGBT, at the end of the day, if you go up to a bunch of homophobic motherfuckers and they find out or you tell them that you're gay, it don't matter if you're wearing a wig, heels, dress, you looking like straight.
Like everybody else.
So while you can hide all day long, bitch, let it be known that they are not your friends.
Yeah.
But on that, because it just easily goes into what I was going to say. There's a show on Netflix called Haunted. Now, the show is essentially like one of those kind of shows where people are telling their stories and then there's dramatizations.
Did we watch that?
We watched the whole first season.
Ghosts. Okay.
This is the second season came out.
Like what?
Okay. Honestly, this story didn't have anything to do with ghosts, but it does not change how fucking frightening the story was.
I mean, you can be haunted by many different things, not just ghosts.
But oh my God, the story is so fucking disgusting. Like every angle. So the second season came out and I was going through it. And I want to say probably the 5th or 6th episode. I'm not 100% sure. There's a gay dude that's sitting down talking and he's telling his story about how he got sent over to a gay conversion camp. Now, he started off from the beginning where I can't remember the name of the church. I should have wrote it down, but I wasn't even thinking because this was going to be a story for me. It just came into my head when we were sitting here. Yeah. So there's a religious cult. Well, it got later dubbed as a cult and shut down, but the church had came into this town wherever he lived. I want to say Tennessee, but I'm not sure. I feel like Tennessee's in my head because of you.
Well, also because there are conversion camps in Tennessee. I've lived in Memphis, and in Memphis, Tennessee, there is a conversion camp called Love in Action.
I don't think it was Love in Action. It was like Boys something.
Yeah, but exactly. It is, and I knew people that
were this got shut down way back.
So. I don't know if it's still there. It might be. But when I was growing up, people that I went to high school with and people that I knew were sent to that conversion camp. It's very real.
But he started the story when he was like maybe 6, 8 or something, and I know he was talking about his older brother. When this religious group came into this town, or this church came into the town, his mom and dad kind of like wanted to got involved with it. And at some point, the priest or the head, whatever they call them, the head guy came, and I can't remember why, but he was whipping his brother for some reason. I remember him talking about how mad he was about what had happened because he didn't understand it. Before his brother was getting a whooping, they were out like catching butterflies. Like he and his brother were just out in this big ass field catching all these butterflies and stuff and playing. And then I guess maybe that was deemed effeminate. And so he got whooped. And I remember the dude was talking about how much he just did not like that guy after that point. Yeah. So one day they're at church. And as they're in this church, they're preaching. And he said every time they would go to church, there was never a moment of him not preaching about a demon doing this. He said there was a demon for everything. You're fat, you got a gluttonous demon. You're lying, you got a lying demon. You're gay, you got a gay demon. Like all this kind of stuff. It was a demon specifically for every situation of your life. You got nappy hair, you got the nappy hair demon.
I also feel like that's also very much stigma in Southern Baptist churches. I would sometimes go to church and I feel like y'all talk more about the devil than God. I would go there. It seemed like it from the shit they were talking about. I was like, good God. Every time you go there, we talk about every sin of the world. But I was like, but I thought church was to uplift God's name. I hardly ever hear God's name in church.
But so he was talking, as he's saying this, he's talking about like the sermon going on and talking about these different demons. One guy hops up and he starts screaming "fuck you" to the priest and just saying you need to go to hell, shut this fucking shit up, blah blah blah. He starts saying that this man has the devil in him and whatever happens, he gets taken away. And then he said, remember, like maybe a week later, the guy came back and he was like, oh, I just had a little breakdown and I wasn't feeling good, but I'm all good now. And he just sat up in the pews and was normal again. I don't know what they did to that man, but okay. But he said, so they're sitting there, and out of nowhere, the man points to him and says, I forgot what his name was, but the little boy who's like 8 or whatever at this time, he was like, he has a gay demon. And I guess they had noticed he had some effeminate mannerisms or whatever. And so they were going to get this gay demon out of him. Now, a bunch of adults in this dark-ass room of the church just holding their hands on him, talking about some be gone gay demon, just like scaring the fuck out of him as a child.
Just imagine that. It's not funny, but just thinking about it is funny. But the experience is not funny.
I'm sure it was not, because he was talking about how he was just so frightened, and then
I can understand that.
He said they put him in like a kind of a punishment. The church regulated it for his parents, told his parents to do it. Put him in his room. He wasn't allowed to come out besides to use the bathroom. So like, his mom would have to bring him food and water and whatever. And essentially, he was only able to be in his room. He said that went on for like, he would be in there for like weeks at a time before he was able to actually come out. And he said once he got to about 15, I want to say like 14 to 15, he said that it was still such an issue that they were still keeping him trapped in his room for most of the part because they just felt like the demon wasn't exercised out of him or whatever. Okay. This is the part that was so disgusting. Okay. He said that they kept saying they were trying to get the demon out of him, and his mom was trying her best. As she put it, she would come into his room and would try to start touching on him in different ways, like either sucking his dick or playing with him, talking about that she needs to be able to elicit a reaction from a woman for him so that he's not gay anymore.
That's disgusting, kid.
It really is. And he was like crying when he was telling this story, and I was like, that's fucking
I would have committed suicide.
Traumatizing. He said like his mom would just come in there. I don't see how he survived.
I couldn't imagine my mama coming in my room doing none of that. And like, especially you said he was 8, right?
No, by the time she started doing that, he was like 15.
15. Okay.
I guess she was just like, this is...
puberty, but that doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I was like...
I don't remember if he said that she was doing it before then, because he only brought it up at that point when he said he was 15. But I don't know if he said it was before then. I'm hoping... I mean, it's not good no matter what, but I'm hoping she did not.
To me, and this doesn't make it any better, it is not any better, but to me, okay, if you just really... Well, how about y'all get a prostitute or something? Why the mama got to go in there messing with the boy?
It seemed to me that it was something that she took upon herself, because he never said anything about his father knowing or anything like that. He really didn't bring up his father. It just seems
to me mama just wanted to suck your dick. I mean, it just seems to me, it makes me think of the American Horror Story, Coven, where Evan Peters' character was getting molested by his mother.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he came back, she was like, I know this body. This is not your body. And
Just
all of that, and
disgusting.
just touching on him. She was like, but Mama make you feel better. Mama make you feel better. She was like, and then I know, when she found out he was messing with that girl, she was like, she doesn't know how to please you like Mama does. I was like, oh my God, why?
I just don't want to. I don't need to know, but I would like to know the thought process of what would make you think that her reasoning is the whole reasoning behind it was stupid, but her reasoning was, like I said, they needed to elicit a response from him from the female touch. Or from a woman.
Didn't need to be her touch.
Why did it have to be yours?
Because there are even fathers, when a boy gets a certain age, I'm not saying this is right, but when a boy gets a certain age, they will get a prostitute for their son just to make sure that they are straight, So, if you just really wanted a female to touch your man, not your man, but your son, please don't do it yourself. Why did you need to touch him?
Child, the scene has started. Of course, it's a reenactment, but the scene has started, and the mama had walked in the room. As he's talking, he's getting to the point of saying, but my mother never gave up trying. And she walked in there and was like, what, she about to whoop him? That's what my mind was like. She about to beat the shit out of him. Get this gay out of you, boy. She walks in there. And then she you don't see it, but you hear his belt coming unbuckled and her pulling it. And I was like, oh, she about to with his own belt? Jesus.
With his own belt.
And then the belt drops. And you hear her and you still see her, and you hear the noise of unbuckling the pants and then unzipping it. And then she drops down. I was like, oh my God.
I'm sure that was a realization you were not prepared for.
Right, it was not. I just didn't fathom in my mind that this was about to happen here.
Where it's going. I don't think I would have, and I didn't even, as you were telling me the story, I was like, I didn't have an inkling.
That it was going to go
that
there.
The mother was going to be trying to have sex with the son.
But after that, apparently, she was not able to elicit that response that she wanted from him. And so this is when they gear up to send him to this gay conversion camp. Yeah. Now, the thing is, they told him that he was going to go to a camp, and he thought that it was he said he was so naive that he thought he was about to go to a regular summer camp. He was like, don't mind. He's like, never mind, it's winter. But
never mind, it's winter. They might have winter camp.
He was he thought he was about to go to summer camp or whatever. So he said he was all excited or whatever, ready to go, because the priest that came into his room and they were going to take him when they came. So he came to the room, he had his shit ready, he walk outside, they run in, put a bag over his head and throw him in the truck.
Oh my God.
Throw him in the truck. And he said he remembered noticing that there was a woman in the car, and he had asked where are we going? And she was like, we're just taking you to the camp, but we don't need you to see where you're going, or whatever it was. I'm like, that would have spooked the fuck out of me.
Child, I would have tucked and rolled. You put a bag on my head. I think I'm going willingly.
But so they get there, and he said the first thing they did, they brought him into a room, they stripped him of all his clothes, sprayed him down with a hose on a wall, a powerful one too. Sprayed him down on the hose, and then threw some kind of powder or something on him to make sure he didn't have lice. And he said after they do that, they take you into this room that's just full of...
They could have easily checked and saw if he had lice. They didn't do
fuck.
all of that.
But so they sent him into a room. And he said, the moment you walk in there, all you smell is because he couldn't see, they put it back over his head again. He said you just smell piss and feces the entire way you're going. He said when they took the bag off his head, he could see that it was a room full of all these other gay men who were in cages. When you see a dog in a crate? Cages like that. They're just in the cages, just them in their underwear. And he said they brought him and put him into one that was next to this other dude. And he's he's just looking around, kind of scared and not knowing what the fuck is going on. And the guy behind him, he said they were told not to talk, but the guy behind him was like, hey, are you okay? And put his finger through the cage. And he said he didn't even say anything. He just put his finger back and touched the dude's finger too. And they busted all in.
Sorry. What? Y'all touching fingers?
And to this day, he didn't explain, or to this day, but I still don't understand because he didn't explain if this guy was a mole or something. They were watching to see if he would do it.
Maybe there was a camera or something.
Because I did not understand how they knew the moment that their fingers tapped. But he said they bust the door in, came in there, grabbed him up, and put him into this taller cage where his arms were shackled.
Oh my
his
God.
arms were shackled up, and he said he was forced to stand there. He said he lost track of time, but he knows he remember seeing the sun go down, No, he said, remember seeing the sun come up, the sun go back down, and the sun come up again. And he said, and he was just forced to stand that entire time. He said, and of course, there's no way for you to not use the bathroom. And so he said he had to just stand there in his own filth. And I was like, child, I was just begged for death.
My God, yes.
And then he brought up that thing that you hear a lot of people talk about with gay camps. Is he said they brought him into a room at one point where they tied him down to a little post or whatever, and they put these exposed wires, like he said, on his ankles, on his armpits, his nipples, his head, his groin. He said, and they would just show like regular pictures. And he said, in the moment they would get to a man kissing another man, they would just shock the fuck out of him. And he was like, he has never experienced the pain so great in his life.
I bet. Oh
and he was
God.
like, and they would do that every time a gay man would come up, and they wanted to, of course, make you equate that feeling that you get from, I guess, seeing that picture to something bad, so that you don't have it. You don't have the urge. And I was just, the entire time I was telling the story, and there's a woman, I didn't catch who it was, because it's only at the beginning do they show, like, so let's say I'm telling a story, and it's me sitting in the chair, and I'm telling my story to the camera and to you all, and it'll be like you, Aaron, my mom, cousin, like a sister, something like that, like all in the room, and I'm telling you guys this story because you have never heard it, or maybe you have, and you can add to it. And at the beginning of the show, they only show the name at that time.
Is the mama in the room?
No.
I'm about to say now, how in the hell is mama?
I thought it was his mother at first until he got to the part about her coming in there and touching on him. And the woman was like, oh my God. I was like, bitch, you don't know? Then I realized this can't possibly be his mama.
Playing this good, girl.
Like, bitch, you up here acting like, how could she have?
How could she? Can't believe it.
But I definitely recommend, if you don't watch any of the other episodes, I definitely recommend that one because it is more of because the rest of the stories, you can either refute or like not really believe what they're saying. I like it just because it's the haunting story. Like, I'm not really watching it because I feel like this is a real thing. Like, if I felt like it was real, or like undoubtedly real, I probably would turn it the fuck off. I don't want to elicit no demons up in my face.
Please,
but
no.
that episode specifically, because of the fact that it is there's nothing really like supernatural about it. This is a very real fucking experience for gay people, especially in the South, it seems. So
definitely. Luckily, Love in Action wasn't doing all that.
It got shut down, luckily.
But there is a movie called Boy Race that I want to watch, and we probably should all watch it. About Love in Action, about somebody experiencing Love in Action. They were from Arkansas and they got shipped off to Memphis, Tennessee to go to Love in Action. And it has Troye Sivan in it, Nicole Kidman, blah blah blah, whatever. But
get on the cow.
Yeah, but I do really want to watch it simply because I knew people who went through this experience, and I'm sure it's probably a very enlightening story.
Stuff like that always just makes me, and when we talk about privilege, there's all kinds of different privileges. And I'm just so grateful that I had the privilege to not have a parent or be in a situation where that could happen. Because I won't say that my dad is homophobic or anything. He's very much so religious, but my dad's whole side of the family is. I mean, they have never discriminated against me. But
I come from a religious family.
It makes, like, even when I came out and my dad found out, he called my mom and was talking about it, and my mom made sure right there and there. She was like, "And he's still your son?" And of course he didn't have any issues with it after that or anything. I don't even know if he actually had an issue to begin with. I don't want to put that out there. I don't know if he had an issue. I think it was more of he just wanted to confirm what he heard, because the way he heard it was some bullshit, and I'm not gonna get too much into it because I've told you before.
Yeah, you told me.
But it just makes me so grateful that I didn't have to go through that, and it pains me to know. I mean, I already know that it's a very real thing. I mean, it's not something that you can hide from, to know that gay people are going through this. But whenever you hear the stories, it just becomes all the more real, and it just like makes me cry to think about shit like that.
Especially since my experience was so different, or yours or whoever's. I didn't really go through a whole lot of homophobia. Growing up, my father was just not good to do, and that had to do with any aspect of the word. It didn't have to really do with me being gay. It just had to do a whole array of things. But my father was definitely, both of my parents asked me all throughout my childhood whether or not I was gay. But
my dad never did.
You also have to understand, I grew up in the South, and gay wasn't really something they were acquainted with. You didn't really go outside and meet gay people. People didn't talk about it. And so my parents didn't know gay people. They had never been around them. You said your mother grew up around gay people.
My mom was a good fat head.
And so my parents had never met gay people. They never knew anything about it. And, you know, they grew up to believe a certain thing. And that's all they knew. Mm-hmm. And so I can't fault my parents for what they were taught and what they had been exposed to. My father was a very, very horrifying man, just to say. But my mother, she was always, all out throughout my childhood, she said she always knew I was gay. Always.
Most parents do. And, unless they're just in super denial. Yeah.
And my father had to also, because like I said, both of them always asked me. But growing up in the South and what people teach you, I at a young age, first of all, didn't know what was going on. And also when I did know, I was scared to say it because I didn't want to lose my family. I didn't want to get kicked out on the street. I didn't want to get sent to a conversion camp because this is what was going on. And I didn't tell him. But my mama always said, anytime she asked me, she was like, you can tell me, you can tell me, you can tell me. My biggest thing is my mama was never one who was like, gay people are going to hell. Although she was religious and whatever, and she grew up in Southern Baptist Church, my mama, when she found out that I was gay and I confided in her, she wasn't saying, oh, I'm scared for your soul. She was saying, I'm scared because your life is going to be 10 times harder.
Yeah.
She was
that's
like,
something that my
you're
mom very
already
much so
black.
felt too.
You know, you're already black. And now you have this other thing. And she was like, life is going to be so hard for you. That was my mama's biggest fear. Mm-hmm. One thing, and as you know about my mother, she always was extremely overprotective, and she did not ever want life to be hard. She wanted to protect us from everything. She didn't want us to really experience any negative things. And so and of course, as a parent, you learn that you can't protect your kid from those things. But my mama was definitely the one that was gonna try. I have to say, she, and to her own detriment, I have to say. Mm-hmm. But it's something that even to this day she struggles with. But she's always been a good mother. I stopped talking to my father when I was around 19. He did, like, same thing with you. My father found out through some fuck shit. I never told him, never came out to my father. Me and my father were never close. Well, we were when I was little. But as I got older, with him being crazy, and I was able to clock his craziness, I had to, step away from him. And I decided at a young age that when I become an adult, I wasn't going to talk to my father anymore. And I was very, very steadfast on that decision. And so when I did get to that age, I stopped talking to him. But he called my mother and proceeded to go off on my mother about me being gay and saying it was her fault and blah, 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 whatever. And she was like, no, because if you wanted him to be more this, more that, you could have been in his life. But you weren't, so blah, blah, blah. So, that whole thing. But
thinking of that, the ending of that dude's story, which was so fucking sweet. It was cute to me. It made me cry again. So, I mean, this part I'm about to say is not the cute part. Okay. But it's just leading up to it.
Okay.
So, when he gets back from the conversion camp, because they sent him back after, I think he said he was there for like 8 weeks or something like that. 7 or 8 weeks, which I'm just like, I couldn't imagine. That was your first day? And you went through that for 8 weeks. Child, I would have died that day.
I would have found something sharp, rigid, and rusty. Child, if I don't die from the cut, I'm gonna die from the infection.
But so he gets home from he said, first of all, they didn't even drop him off in front of his house. He said they got to his street, opened the door, and kicked him out with his shit and said, go home. So he gets to his door, and his dad opens it up and was like, they said you didn't even fucking try. And he's like, he was stunned because he was like, Dad, do you know what they did to me? Talking about, I didn't try. Like, do you know what they did to me? He was like, don't you lie to me. And told him that he doesn't need to come in the house. Like, you can go find somewhere else to be. Because he's not going to be here. If you're not going to try to at least not be gay, then you can't be in this house. Which was just so fucked up to me. Yeah. But so,
very real.
Whatever happened, his aunt found out about the situation. His aunt snatched his brother out of the house too, and him, and said, you're going to stay with me, because we're not playing this. So I'm just so like,
happy somebody in the family was saying.
We have some sense, right? So, got his brother and himself into the place, and so he had a new school to go to and everything like that. He said the entire time he's trying his best not to even seem like he's gay. And he's like, one day he's like in the library, and this new guy comes in. He was like, he just knew looking at him, he's like, something was different about this guy, just like something different about him. But he didn't really say anything. He just would stare at him. He said one day the guy comes over to him and he was like, "So are you one of those fags?" And he was like just stunned. Like, "No, man, no.
White ways to introduce yourself.
He was like, "No, I'm not." First of all, the way he described the boy, he was like, he had brown curly hair, and you could tell he was like enamored with this man.
Yeah.
Because you don't describe people unless you really, really feel it.
Yeah.
But he said, he was like, "Are you one of those fags?" or something like that. And he was like, No, I'm not. I don't know how you thought that, blah, blah, blah. And dude was like, "Oh, well, that's sad, because I am." And he was like, "Well, what now?"
That's not what was said was. I didn't mean that.
I mean, I'm still second guessing everything.
Right, I figured it out.
And so
you can help me learn.
And so he said the dude leaned in and kissed him.
I don't.
Listen.
This is.
He leaned in and kissed
This
him.
is bold.
And he said,
Especially in the South.
Yeah. He's like, the dude leaned in and kissed him. He said right then and there. And I feel like any gay dude that's been questioning. I don't know how, I mean, not as frequent for people nowadays, but back in our day, growing up, the first kiss you have, well, most likely, the first kiss you have with a guy just like sends shockwaves through you. He's like, this is right. Like, you just know that feeling, especially if you kissed the girl before that. Because I know that before I kissed my first guy, I had kissed the girl, and I was just like, this is utterly disgusting.
I don't know if I had that same experience.
Like, I just don't. There is nothing about a woman that does anything for me. And I am just like the gayest of the gayest of the gay, I guess, because
you know, gold star gay.
Now, I have had sex with a woman before, and I was hard and everything like that. But I mean, I couldn't finish. I was like maybe 13. I wasn't busting shots at that time.
I wasn't busting shots.
The thing is, whenever I explain to people, I would always tell them, like, before I hit puberty, when I would get to that point of where I guess, like, now you would ejaculate, my dick would just get really sensitive, like, super sensitive. And I'm like, okay, girl. We can't do this no more. But, I mean, at that time, I think, as you're getting older and going through that puberty stage, your dick just about gets hard from any goddamn thing. So that me getting hard had nothing to do with me being attracted to her. It was more of the wind blew. So, but like I said, like I kissed the girls, and every girl I kissed, I would just be so annoyed that I was doing it, and I would only be doing it because I was like, well, this is what straight people do, or this is what not straight people. This is what I'm supposed to do as a man. And I remember when I had this guy named Devin back in, it was 8th grade. We were talking to each other, and he was saying, because he knew that I was dating one of the girls in our friend group. It was me and him, and then these two girls, Keisha and Morgan. And Devin had said something to me about, oh, were you going to he was like, do you think you're gay? Because he is too. So we were like going through that conversation together. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. And he was like, well, you can have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And I was like,
it's like, can I?
Okay. And I remember he was getting ready to go. But as I was going, like, he left out before me, and I was coming behind him so I can walk him out. And he, like, as I got to the door, because he was, like, around the corner already. As I got to the door and got ready to turn, he came back in front of me and kissed me. And I just remember, like, I will never forget that feeling. I was, like, melting from the kiss. And I was like, oh, my God, this is what I've been missing.
To be honest, the first guy that I kissed, it wasn't, I didn't feel all that much. But
did you not like him?
I mean, I thought I did. But it was very much, it was, you are hard pressed to find another gay guy in the South. It was, it wasn't something they weren't just parading around. So it was like, so the first one you met, it was like, okay, well, this is it. There ain't no more. I don't know. And so it was okay, but that whole experience it wasn't all that great.
Would you at least say you're different? Did you kiss the girl before you kissed the guy?
Yeah. So
did you think the feeling was any different?
I'd never say it was different, but
as opposed to the
I think I didn't really know. Okay, my upbringing was very sheltered. We didn't really know. I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know anything about sex. I didn't know anything about gay, straight. I didn't know. Nobody talked about it. I just have to say. So I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I mean, he was calling me. He was telling me this and blah, blah, blah. He was asking me questions about, do you think this dude is cute? Do you think that dude is cute? I was like, I don't know. I guess he's okay. And, and then all of a sudden he was like, oh, he didn't ask me to be his boyfriend. And I was like, okay, sure. I don't know. And then, we did, like, the first time I kissed him was the first time we had sex.
No.
So it wasn't like it was a preamble. It was like all head fast at once. And the sex was awful.
Oh, God.
It was such a terrible experience. And it's just, I don't know. I didn't really get my real first, like, you know, butterflies and all of that stuff until I started dating Elijah. Mm-hmm. And so that was my second boyfriend. But I was with Elijah for like 4 years. So
Mm-hmm.
that was my idea of love at that time.
I don't even know if it was more like for the butterflies for me that it was like a love thing. It was more of just like the synopsis connected in my mind,
Yeah.
and it was like,
Well, for me,
from kissing the girls that I kissed beforehand and not really feeling anything or feeling like disgust from doing it. Not to say those women were disgusting, but it was just like I knew that wasn't me, and I was like, it's like anything that you force yourself to do. Like, if you're forcing yourself to do something and you don't really like it, you're going to have a disdain towards it.
Well,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
that was very much so for me. And I guess I was only doing it because this is what men are supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah,
I sit here and be upset about it. And then when I had the first kiss with him, and it could have probably been, not any guy, but it could have been any guy that I was even attracted to.
Yeah,
that
they
I would have got a
would've just been
kiss. And it
whatever.
would have just been like, it was more of like a realization of like, okay, if I didn't already pretty much was 100% sure that I was gay, I am now. I know for a fact
Yeah.
now because this feeling.
I think if my first time was such a bad experience,
Mm-hmm.
because good God, it's terrible. But with the thing about, see, of course, my sexual experience is completely different from yours. You know, me and Elijah, I was like 16, 17. By the time me and Elijah had sex, I had sex with my first boyfriend, I think his name was Jarrell.
Mm-hmm.
He the year before that, and that was one time. We literally we had that moment and then broke up later that week.
Ooh.
So it wasn't anything that was extended. It wasn't because the reason why we broke up is because we rode the same bus together, and we had assigned seats or whatever, but I think for some reason in the morning we could sit where we wanted, and so he wanted me to start sitting with him. But at the same time, he didn't want anybody to know. And then at the same time, he was a football player, and he was like,
bullshit.
at the same time, he was like, oh, but I got a girlfriend too, and I'm dating both of y'all, and I want to date both of y'all. And I said, well, you won't be doing that. So then we broke up. So after I clean went the fuck off, we was like, okay, that's the end of that. And then like the next year, I met Elijah through mutual friends, and we talked for a long time before we even kissed or had sex or anything. So by the time we were doing that, we were, what we thought was love,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably was for that age.
Yeah.
But I say that because when I look back on it, it's a very unhealthy love, because we were two extremely lonely people who were just really codependent, on one another. And at the age now, as a 31-year-old, I'm like, no, I don't want that type of love. So that's why I say by the time we had sex, we were proclaiming love, and so it was like an expression of love. So it wasn't just like a feverish,
The thing is, I don't think anybody at that age of like your teens or whatever truly knows what love is. I feel like you're infatuated, but you're not in love with the person because you don't know what love is until you've gone through those experiences of your infatuation and this
definitely.
is short-lived. Like, I really like this person a lot. Most likely is less, especially when you're going through puberty. Really like this person a lot. Then you go through your relationships. Like, sometimes it's up to your 20s, sometimes it's further than that. But I feel like even if you start off in a relationship at when you're a teenager and that relationship does work out and you are in love, I feel like you don't truly know that there's love until later on. Like, you only know that you really like this person because you have to develop what love is to you, since it's different for everybody.
Definitely true. And I think that it's because I said we were together for 4 years, not like we were just together, for a hot second. It was like, oh, we love. I mean, I say to me, that age, that was pretty good for the last as long as it did. The thing is, we got older and we were becoming different people, and it was like, okay, well, it's different. Mm-hmm. But I think that as an adult looking back, because I do look back on past relationships and be like, okay, well, what was different, And I look back on that and I was like, that was more of we thought that that was all we had, and that's all that was offered to us, and that's all that we could get. You know, and like I said, in the South, you didn't have a lot of options.
I was gonna say, I think that was the
you
biggest
didn't have
difference.
as soon as you found somebody, you tried to stick to that person because you didn't know who else was gonna pop up.
Meanwhile, I was in the city slinging this pussy to any man I wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't have those options. I remember before dating Elijah, or even dating Jarrell, and having a lot of straight friends, of course, because didn't know any gay people, and thinking that I was never going to have that, because it's easy to be straight and find somebody. Everybody's straight.
Yeah.
You know, so it was easy to find somebody. So for me, it was hard. You know, I felt like Matthew in Big Mouth, his name's Matthew, right? In Big Mouth, where he was like, there's no gay people. Everybody else is dating. And I don't have anybody. And then finally, like in a new season, he did meet another gay dude. And then he doesn't even know how to act or know how to even pursue the relationship because he doesn't have any references.
That's why I always say, and I truly feel like gay people don't really begin to truly grow until they hit their 20s. Once you're out of high school and you can actually explore different things, and even then sometimes it doesn't work for you, but for the most part, once you're out of high school and you're able to actually grow as an adult and have your own stuff, that's when you truly begin to blossom, because a lot of people are so sheltered and they have to keep their feelings balled up because based on maybe because of your living situation, your parents may be super homophobic or the people around you may be super homophobic, and you have to wait till you get out of that situation in order to actually be yourself. And when you're stunted like that, it stunts your growth. Emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever the situation is, because you're stuck. Like, you have these feelings that you want to enact on, but you can't, out of fear for your life or your living situation, whatever it is. And so I always feel like gay people really don't get to truly grow the way straight people do in high school until we hit our fucking 20s.
Yeah, well, I feel like it might be a little different now.
Definitely different now, but
when we were growing up, it was definitely hard. It definitely depends on where you live at, you know, because where I was at, it was like slim pickings. But, you know, if you're living in California, then it's probably a completely different experience.
I mean, I am happy that there are people nowadays, or the gay people growing up nowadays do have a better ability to actually grow with the rest of their peers in high school.
I'm also very happy for gay people to have representation on television. Other than us being comic relief.
That's all it was that we saw when we grew up.
Because we could, like, the gay people on television they couldn't have lives. They couldn't have sex lives. They could only be seen in. It makes me think of that one episode of Queer as Folk where, what was it, Emmett? He was working on the news show, and he started talking about, like, I guess, sexual gay things. It was like, well, we don't want to know that you have a sex life. Like they only wanted us to be a face. Yeah. And to
if you're
be
not
snarky and to be...
If you're not somebody's sassy best friend, you're nothing. You're nothing.
That's all. I mean, because that's all the gay men were. They were these stereotypical, sassy, like, I'm going to read you for fifth type thing with the limp wrist and, you know, hand on the hip. And
that's not every gay person.
And shirt tied up at the... And I hate to see that because it will always happen in gay comedies where the gay dude always has his shirt tied.
Not even the gay dude. When straight dudes want to...
act like a gay dude.
The first thing they do is pull their shirt up and tie it into a little knot. I'm just like
what gay dude does this?
I have never to this day
to meet a gay dude that does this.
It's just very irritating. But on that, we had a good deep discussion.
Yes, we did.
About the gay adventure and journey.
Experience.
I have some other topics, or another topic that I can probably save because we're already recording this late. Our birthdays were on Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday. Sorry. Our birthdays were Friday and Saturday, and then took a little sabbatical on Sunday. Yeah. So we're already recording this late, and so I feel like the stuff that I have actually didn't come out until yesterday and today, so it can still go for Friday when we record again. Yeah. So I can save that for that, unless you have something that you just have to discuss.
No, I think we've schooled people enough to.
All right. Well, again, definitely want to thank you guys for listening to Le Podcast. Kimo, do you have any last words before I send you all to a gay conversion camp?
Well, last words. Help me.
Bye.
Bye.
I almost grabbed your phone, bitch.